One of my nails came off while recording this, but that's not the point. That's not the point. We go through so many different phases in our lives, and we tend to do this thing every single time where we sit there and we blame ourselves over and over again. We sit there and we're like, why does this happen to me? Why me? A lot of the patterns that we're stuck in, a lot of the things that we sit there and end up complaining about are things that we inherently can change, but we seem to get in the way of ourselves over and over again. Stop blaming external forces when the problem is internal. This week we're talking about self-sabotage and how self-sabotage is getting in your way and how to stop. Because seriously, the amount of time we spend complaining, the amount of time we spend being like, why this, why that, oh, it's because of this teacher, it's because of this friend. When are you going to stop looking at the world and start looking at the world internally to see what problems are in that world? Because you can only govern yourself. You are not part of some one world government where you can control every other thing in the world around you. But what you can do is govern oneself. So let's get straight to it. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I am so happy to have you back. This week's topic, we're talking about how to remove the blockages in our lives that we so intently complain on. We so intently blame everything around us for, when the problem started with you. The problem started internally. You're blaming the wrong things. If you try to fix the problem by just cutting the leaves off of a corrupted tree without getting to its root, that tree will continue to grow. You're going to have a garden by the time you think you're just cutting away at the leaves and you're actually getting rid of the problem. The whole time you're not actually doing anything for the garden. The roots are going to continue to bury deeper into the ground, and you're going to be finding yourself with a garden of self-sabotage. So let's stop before we get there. One thing I've realized is the obsession with making people like you. Validation does not come from external sources. Validation doesn't come from begging and pleading for approval. Whatever gap you felt in yourself first that made you feel like you needed to go look for validation externally is the gap you need to figure out why it's there and fill that first. You're looking at external sources for approval when truly no one's ever going to be fully satisfied. This world is never going to be fully satisfied with you. That's the truth. Stop wasting your time on such a futile and long journey on something that genuinely will not help you. It will not help you get anywhere. If anything, it's going to limit you because you're so busy curating this pleasing and curating this person that is pleasant, that is easy. You're watering yourself down so you're palatable to people. You're never even going to shine in your true authenticity if you're constantly sitting there trying to water yourself down for people. Where is that going to get you? That's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to be sitting there watering yourself down for years on end, and then you're going to wonder, I don't really even truly know myself. You didn't let yourself get to know yourself. You didn't let yourself express, and you didn't let yourself just be. You were too busy trying to make yourself palatable to other people. Let go of the need to please people, and I know it can stem from different things. You felt like when you were younger, you felt like unless you were perfect, unless you were all pristine, unless you cleaned up all the edges, you showed no mess. You made yourself almost to the point where there was no human mistake there. You made yourself to the point where you assumed perfection in the way that you presented yourself. Stop this performance. The performance that you continue to keep up is what's killing the child internally, not allowing you to fill that space within yourself. Stop performing for people. You are worthy of love. You are worthy to be seen. You're worthy to be respected without you having to perform for people. Keeping up an appearance is probably one of the most tiresome and honestly the most futile thing you can do for yourself. How long are you going to keep up that? When are you gonna let yourself just be human? When are you gonna let yourself just be an individual? You are not a superhuman, and that's fine. Stop making unrealistic and exaggerated versions for yourself to look up to. It's not realistic. Let yourself be a human first, then you can worry about improvement. Then you can worry about if you don't like something about yourself to change it. And that's part number 2. Stop complaining about things that are not changing in your life when you have not changed anything in your life. You haven't done one thing differently. You haven't changed. You keep going back to that same friendship group that you know is not good for you. You're trying to get away from certain behaviors. You're trying to get away from the gossip. You're trying to reimagine your life, and you keep going back to that same friend group that constantly talks bad about people for no reason. So you tell me where your misery is coming from. Your environment, the people that you're surrounding yourself with, because that's what it seems like to me. Stop being the dog that goes back to his vomit. You trying to make it, but no one's ever perfect. Oh, but no one's ever. Sure, but I'm sure there's better out there. You just don't have the audacity to ask for it. So let's start there. Have the audacity to ask for it. Have the audacity to ask for the things that you deserve. Because you holding yourself back is not stopping anyone but you. You holding yourself back is just you downplaying your worth to people. Stop letting things slide. Stop letting yourself downplay every beautiful aspect. Let yourself shine. Let yourself sparkle. Don't be afraid for this. Don't be afraid of the spotlight. You were given a light so beautiful and so bright to let yourself shine. If you're so stuck on what other people are going to say, you're never getting out of that hole. You're never actually doing something for yourself. It's not happening because you're sitting there curating every little bit of it. You're convincing yourself these old toxic environments is the same places that you can heal and grow. The places, the people, the ones that hurt you and the ones that broke you down aren't the same places that you can heal from the breakdown. You need to stop trying to decorate your cage and convince yourself and romanticize this cage that you have for yourself. Actually remove yourself out of it, because your comfort and your familiarity with it is what's keeping you there. But you're not going to actually change anything in your life if you're going to accept the familiarity for what it is and just stay there. Nothing's changing. In no sense do you have to do it all by yourself. In no sense are you left by yourself to figure it out all by yourself. You can look around you and figure out what is truly getting in the way of your growth. Stop being that person that cannot say what people need to hear and just what they want to hear. Stop being that person that just says yes to everything, because now you're stuck with no boundaries. Now you wonder, why are you getting treated this way? You've wrapped yourself in your own straitjacket for some approval, for some futile, time-limited approval. That approval is going to disappear tomorrow because of one thing you did wrong, and that track record of good that you did is not going to matter. So might as well set yourself up to where you can be your authentic self. You can be truly, honestly yourself, and then, and only then, will you be able to stop self-sabotaging. Your self-sabotaging is coming from you thinking you can feel things within yourself from external sources. When you realize that there's something in here that you haven't worked on, that you haven't filled, that you seem to so much, you beg for it externally, look inwards first. Because I guarantee you will find what you're looking for. I guarantee you the answers to your question. Ask yourself and listen to your conscience when it tells you what you need to change, what you need to improve on. You not listening to your own conscience, you not taking in your own truth, and you not changing and taking that on board is what's getting in your way. Stop self-sabotaging by being a dog that goes back to its vomit, by going back to that toxic relationship, by going back to those friendships, by going back to places that you were given a way out from. When the exit is standing right there, the door is beaming bright with an exit sign, and you seem to still stay in your spot and then cry, then you wonder why you're going through what you're going through. Just because of familiarity and comfort, don't sabotage yourself from having a future where you deserve the things that you want, a future where things can be different, things can be good for you. You can't sit there and wallow in your own misery and then wonder why things aren't changing. Stop looking for external validation. Stop not being honest with yourself. Stop not being honest with other people. You're watering yourself down to make yourself palatable. It's not doing anything for you, but just getting in the way of your blessings. Have the audacity, please. Have the audacity to ask for more for yourself. Have the audacity to be the one that breaks those chains and those cycles. Because the more you're convincing yourself that you're stuck through some generational curse, the more you're convincing yourself that you can't do something because you're, oh, but it's not this, but I'm not allowed to, but I'm not. Stop. Act and walk as if the rules do not apply to you. You hearing everyone else's complaint about life is so hard, yes, can be, but when you walk like everything comes easy to you, when you walk like this is your game and your rules and you're gonna do exactly what you please, you're gonna watch the game shift for you. You're gonna watch your life turn around and you're no longer limited by anything. It's how you approach the situation. If you approach it to where you are not limited by anything anymore, you can choose the people you want to be around. You're not a victim to your circumstances. All of a sudden you have all these opportunities that are falling into your hand. All of a sudden your life starts to look a little more like your mood board. Take that risk. Bet on yourself before you're betting on anyone else, because you're sitting here wasting time idealizing and paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars to see people that are just other human beings. Stop idolizing other people. They're human as well. You don't see a lot of what happens behind closed doors. You don't see a lot of, not the glitz and glam side of even influencers. You don't see everything, so stop acting like you know everything. Know what you see is just a filtered version of everything, and they're human too, and these people are human beings who bleed the same blood at the end of the day. So stop idolizing them. Understand that yes, they may have something that you look up to, but that's not something that is out of reach for yourself. That's not something that you can't become. They're human too. We weren't born with different abilities. They don't have some superhuman ability. They might be better at certain things, sure, but it's not a skill you can't learn. It's not a skill you can't learn. So stop the complaining. Stop running to God and being like, why me, why me, why me, why me? God gave you a way out. God gave you a way out. It's you. It's you that's like standing at that same door that has an exit sign on it, but you let yourself back into the room that you were initially delivered from. You let yourself back into the rooms that you prayed yourself out of. You let yourself back into the same cycles. Break the cycles. Break the curses that continue in your lifetime. Break these habitual wrongdoings that you're doing by yourself. Stop hurting yourself by going back to things that do not serve you anymore. A life where you are your own person is a life that is much more peaceful than any life that can offer you all the fame or the glory in the world. At the end of the day, it's never going to be enough. People who won the lottery and go back to baseline happiness 3 months in. It's sure that money is helpful, but it's not something that you can't make. Money is a currency. It's a vibration. It's an abundance. There's so much money to be made in the world. Why is it not that you think that it's not your birthright? You were given your own vessel. You were given your own timeline to work through these things. Why do you think it's not meant for you? Oh, okay. Because you need to stop getting in the way of your ability to do anything by putting doubts and putting limitations and putting yourself in cages that may not have even existed before you formed it for yourself. It's ridiculous the amount of things that we patronize and we criticize and we gossip about, and it's endless cycle. It's an endless cycle. You're never going to be fully, truly like happy unless you let go of all these things that you know inherently are bad for you. Cut it off from its root. Pull it out from its root. Not just the leaves, not just the 1-2. Pull it out from its roots. You're gonna feel uncomfortable moving into places, moving into timelines that are healthier for you if you haven't been in healthy timelines your entire life. But embrace that discomfort, embrace that transformation and growth, and a change is something that is almost promised in this lifetime. You're cellularly meant to grow. You grow and age, and that's beautiful. So take that and run with it. Take that to initiate change that is meaningful. Take that and initiate things that mean something to you. Don't just sit there and let things fall apart and fall away from your hands because you're too afraid to let your old self die. She was amazing and she had whatever she had in her life, but that's an era that you've moved out from. Figure out what this new era holds for you. Figure out what all this new time and all these new people that you're meeting, you haven't even found everything that you're going to love doing. You haven't found every hobby, every person that's going to love you. You've not found everything in the world that you enjoy doing yet. So what are you waiting on? Go find that instead. Stop finding validation. Go find that instead. That's fulfilling. Not you sitting there wrapping yourself up in things that pointless, and honestly it's an injustice you're doing by yourself. Pointless. Fix it. Thank you guys for joining me for another one of our chats. I love this topic. I feel like it was something very essential that we needed to talk about. Self-sabotage is one of the scariest things because it's okay when you can point at other things, and it's okay when you can be like, this is the problem. But what are you going to do when that problem is yourself? What are you going to do when you're getting away with yourself? So we're done. We're exiting cycles, we're closing off cycles, and we pray that the doors open to leave and abandon old cycles that do not serve us anymore, because we have so much growth that is still waiting for us. We have so much abundance and prosperity that is in our birthright if we believe it. So let's get to that. And yeah, stay disgustingly prosperous. Bye bye.